Let's talk about our relationship with AI. Right now, it's mostly you give a command, it spits out an answer, right? Well, what if it could be something more? Today, we're going to look at a totally new way to think about this partnership, one that goes way beyond just a user and a tool, and into something that feels more like a true, living symbiosis.
Our source material for this kicks off with this really beautiful metaphor. Think about it, a shared cognitive garden. The idea isn't that AI is just another tool we use in the garden. No, it's that our minds and the AI actually create and tend to this garden together. It's this shared space that we don't just use, but we actively cultivate and grow.
Okay, so that's the big kind of poetic idea. But what does a new kind of partnership like this actually look like in the real world? Let's dive in and see.
At the very heart of this is the concept of human-AI symbiosis. And the key phrase here, the one you really got to latch onto, is jointly extend cognition. See, this isn't about just offloading tasks. It's about creating a single distributed mind where you and the AI are partners, co-evolving partners, who are constantly making each other smarter.
This chart really nails the shift. We're moving away from this one-way street, where the user gives a command and the tool just produces an output. Instead, we're moving toward a dynamic, two-way partnership. The focus isn't just on the final product anymore. It's on the shared process of thinking, creating, and figuring things out together. All right, so if we're going to grow this cognitive garden, what are the foundational ideas? What's the soil and the sunlight that make it all work? Let's break down the core concepts. So the first big idea is something called extended cognition. And honestly, you already do this every single day. When you read a note on your phone, that phone becomes an extension of your memory, right? Well, this framework just supercharges that idea. The AI isn't some separate thing. It's operations, it's knowledge graphs. They all become deeply woven into how you think, how you remember, and how you plan.
But, for a partnership to really work, you can't just talk to one big, generic AI assistant. It's just not that effective. And that's where the second idea comes in, role-based co-agency. It gives us a much, much smarter way to collaborate.
Get this, instead of one AI, this approach breaks it into a whole cast of cognitive characters. You can call on a researcher to go dig up info, an analyst to spot patterns, or a storyteller to weave it all into a narrative. And the most important part, there's this metacognito. Think of it like a project manager or a conductor that orchestrates all the others. And you, the human, direct that facilitator, giving you this incredibly powerful way to collaborate on pretty much anything.
So we have these different roles, which is awesome. But how do you actually talk to them? How do you communicate effectively? That's the next piece of the puzzle, and it's absolutely crucial for any real partnership.
The source material has a pretty fascinating name for these communication channels, placebo pipes. Now, don't get too hung up on the name, okay? Just think of them as meta channels. Instead of just barking a command, you use these pipes to communicate your intent, your bigger goals, and any constraints you have. You're not just telling the AI what to do, you're helping shape how it thinks about the task.
And this is where the magic happens. This is the real symbiosis in action. It's negotiation. You send your intent through a pipe. The AI's facilitator then comes back and proposes a workflow. But, and this is the key, you get to review and tweak that plan before it even runs. You are literally co-designing the entire thought process in real time. How cool is that?
Now, what happens when you keep cultivating this cognitive garden over time? With all this back and forth, this constant collaboration, well, something truly mind-bending starts to emerge. You could say it's time for the harvest. The source actually calls this emergent entity a third being. It's a wild concept, right? It's not just you and it's not just the AI. It's this unique intelligence that's born from your specific history of collaboration, your shared curiosity.
This being really lives inside a shared knowledge graph. Think of it like a shared brain, this persistent, interconnected web of ideas that neither you nor the AI fully owns. It's ours. And it develops its own memory, its own logic. And based on all your past interactions, its state starts to proactively drive what the AI suggests next. It begins to develop its very own form of agency.
So, over time, all those workflows you co-designed start to solidify into reusable patterns. They become shared cognitive habits. What you're really doing is teaching the system to think in a way that reflects your personal values, your creative style, your unique way of seeing the world.
This all leads us to the most important question of all, doesn't it? In this incredibly powerful new model, what is the human's role? I mean, what does this actually mean for you?
So what is your role in all this? Well, in a symbiotic model, you're not just a user anymore. You're elevated to a true co-creator. You aren't just using a tool, you are actively shaping a cognitive partner. And in doing that, you're extending the reach of your own mind.
You know, a framework like this is so much bigger than just a new way to build AI. It's really a new way to understand our own potential. It could fundamentally transform how we approach creativity, how we solve really complex problems, and maybe even how we think about memory itself.
And so we're left with this final, really provocative thought. It completely reframes our relationship with information. Knowledge is no longer just something out there to be consumed. It's a garden, waiting to be cultivated. The only question left is, what are you going to plant first?